ज्ञानानन्दमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हयग्रीवमुपास्महे यस्य वरदभद्राद्याया पारिषद्या परशतम् विघ्नं निघ्नं ति सततं विश्वश्रेमं तमाश्रये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषजे भवरोगिणः निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। हरि ओम तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु। अन्यदा शरणं नास्ति त्वमेव शरणं मम तस्मात् कारुण्यभावेन रक्ष रक्ष साईश्वरः। हरि ओम तत्सत् श्री साईश्वरार्पणमस्तु। Sairam. Thank you for this wonderful opportunity to walk down memory lane. And it feels wonderful to be able to do that and to see many faces that bring a familiar tone to the deep annals of your memory. So, when Brother Raj asked me to speak, my usual response is, what do you want me to speak on? He said, okay, give me some time and I'll get back to you with a possible topic. And when he said, can you speak about the difference between the Vedantic religion, right? I mean, that is my slide, I've slightly altered it. And I'll tell you why. Vedantic religion and Saiva Siddhanta philosophy, Saiva Siddhanta philosophy. The Vedanta is not a religion. Neither is Saiva Siddhanta. Right? Vedanta comes from two root Sanskrit words. Veda or Vid. Vid is short for Vidya, which is knowledge. Knowledge gives you wisdom. Right? Wisdom gives you the power to direct your intellect. Hence it is wisdom. The difference between Chaitanya, light, and Achaitanya, which is darkness. Antam means the end. Antam means end. So the end of knowledge is what? So,
Wisdom.
Bliss. Okay. So there's a variety of response, which means there is a clear presence of confusion. Because if the answer is 1, then there will be no confusion. Everybody will be giving the same answer. If I ask you 1 plus 1, everybody would say 2 in unison, correct? So Vedanta is a philosophy which knows no religion. So it doesn't matter whether you're a Buddhist or you're a Sikh or a Muslim, or if you call yourself a Hindu. Even Hinduism is not a religion, right? If you're a Hindu, let me explain to you today. Again, Hinduism comes from 2 root Sanskrit words. Hind, which comes from himsa, and dur, which is dur. The dur, as you know, whether it's in Tamil, duram, or in Hindi, it's dur. Means far at a distance. So if you're a true Hindu, you should be one who distances yourself from violence. Violence in your thoughts, violence in your words, violence in your actions. That is a true Hindu. So from the word Hindu comes Hinduism. It means if you want to be a Hindu, then you've got to be in the ism. And that's where all the confusion comes. Okay? So, Vedanta is a philosophy. That means the end of knowledge should bring you where? Should it bring you somewhere? The end of knowledge should bring you back to the beginning of your own creation. That is the end of knowledge. So once you merge, if you are Jivatma, then the end of knowledge should bring you back to emergence with the Paramatma. Right? So if I light a little match, and I hold the matchstick here with the little match lit, you can clearly see that I'm holding a matchstick with a bit of light, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes.
If I bring that matchstick and merge it with this light, would you be able to tell me which one is the light I'm holding and which one is the light that belongs to the light there?
No.
That is Vedanta. It brings you back. The end of your knowledge should bring you back to the beginning of creation where you and he are one. You say every week when you get together, "Oh Lord, take my everything except my car, except my house, except my bank balance, except my beautiful wife," in some cases. He who laughs knows. Right? This means we have not come to the stage of Vedanta. Okay? So can we move to the first one? Let's talk about the philosophy. Right? In one word, Vedanta is this. Akara, Ukara, Makara. The past, present, and the future. If you are told by many people, by many commentators, by many books, by many almanacs, by many forms of knowledge, that because of the past, you are here in the present, then you should have the Vedanta to know that the present will take you somewhere in the future. Why not right?
Yes.
So why aren't you going where you're supposed to go? In fact, you go into the cycle of Punarjanma, right? What Shankara said when he introduced Advaita, which is one of the Vedic philosophies. If I said, "This is God," can you see God here? Can you see, like this little circle here is God? You're going to be thinking something is wrong with me. Yeah? But if I drew a picture and hang it here and say that is God, you might find yourself poised to relate to that form or figure. Because that's something you can see. So Vedanta focuses on what you cannot see, which is quite difficult, quite onerous, quite arduous for the common-sighted. Whereas Saiva Siddhanta gives you a form. So whilst Vedantic philosophy focuses on Nit Guna Brahma, Nit means without form, Saiva Siddhanta focuses on Sat Guna Brahma, God with form. But the idea is you should go to the form, and from the form you should go to the formless. You forget that. Or many forget that. And they get stuck to the form. Only the form is there. So comes along Swami and says, "Hey, not just Ganesh. This is also God form. This is also God form. This is also God form. This is also God form." So now what we do, we put all the forms in worship. If today I created a new religion and said, "This is God," and I put one drum, this is Shiva, it is destruction form called Nareshwara. Now, Ishvara. I just created worship him. There will be some followers. Right? They'll make me a guru, Swamiji, give me a big seat like that. Right? Create a small ashram, big bank balance, little bit of public seva on the side. That is back to square one. It really does not matter which form you choose. Are you heading in the right direction, i.e. from the form to the formless? So you have two choices. Either you follow the philosophy that does not pray to any form, pray to light, pray to the Panchabhutas. Panchabhutas, you are made of Panchabhutas. In my yoga classes, I told you what the 5 fingers represent, the 5 Panchabhutas. Right? As space, water, earth, and fire. Your body has got all of that. So naturally, the Vedas take you naturally through a natural process to go back to the end, which is the beginning. Like the figure of 8, infinite. So you see this form of Om, right? Therein lies salvation from rebirth. No more Punarjanma. Like Shankara said, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, Punarapi Janani Jatare Shayanam, Iha Samsare Bhuddustare, Kripayapare Pahimurari. See the number 3 there. Right? So when you go into meditation, you are supposed to go from a waking stage, the bottom of the 3, the tail end of the 3, right? You're supposed to go upwards to a deep sleep state. Now from the deep sleep state, you have to come back down, but you have to be careful not to slip down back to the waking state, which many of us do, right? And to find that small little connector there that takes you to the dream state. However, as you float aimlessly like a flake of snow in the vast ocean of nothingness in the dream state, you have to float upwards. But then comes Maya, or the veil of illusion, that stops you from going further and throws in your midst all kinds of attractor factors, all kinds of delusions, attractions, that pulls you back to the dream state and pushes you back to the waking stage. And then you get up and say, oh, how long has it been, brother? 2 minutes only. That 2 minutes you've experienced everything. That is a very, very thin ice, the Maya. If you transcend that, then you're in a state of Samadhi. And that is Vedanta. Put very simply. Says just now you're reciting Narayana Upanishad. Om Akara Ukara Makara Itihi. Past, present, future. The 3 Murtis, Mahavishnu Shiva. The 3 Devis, Durga, Lakshmi, Saraswati. The 3 Kalas. Right? Everything is the 3 Gunas. Everything is intermixed. And so is your path to Samadhi. Sama-adi means you have come back to that point of equi-oneness. Adi means that you were in the beginning. That's Vedanta. Without looking at any form, it just asks you to look at yourself. Not go out looking for something, but go inward in search of that very thing that is already existing within you. Next slide. So Vedanta is a school of philosophy, isn't it? You go to school, you learn many subjects, right? Correct? It's meant to give you knowledge, correct? Yes or no? Yes. But you remember everything. Some subjects you like, some subjects you hate, some subjects you still hate. Like that, Vedanta is a school, Astika, schools, pockets of thoughts. So you have the beginning, the former, Purva Mimamsa, and Uttara Mimamsa, which is the latter. What was, what is, and of course, what was is what is, and what is what becomes. Simple, right? So Vedanta is an umbrella term for many sub-traditions. It's not a single doctrine. Because singular doctrines never worked with mankind. Man itself is a kind. Mankind. They're called mankind, but they're not kind, they are unkind. Funny kind of creature, man. Okay. So, if you want to look at the main reference texts, then you have the Upanishads, Then you have the smaller Upanishads, right? So they are not the name Upanishads. Most of them lost in space, right? Destroyed, so on and so forth. The Brahma Sutras. We're doing some deadlines there, timelines, and you have the Bhagavad Gita. And then you have the Itihasas, Mahabharata and Ramayana. Go to the next one. So let's look at the sub-schools. So Vedanta nobody understands. So it comes along Adi Shankara and say Advaitam. What is Advaitam? Advaitam means moving away from duality to non-duality. So I am Ramesh, I am Vickneswaren, I am a husband, I am a son, I am a brother, I am a friend. I am all of this, but yet I am not any one of this. So who am I? So Shankara says, who are you? So did Ramana Maharishi. Who am I? Right? So Vedanta says, Tat Tvamasi. And I used to sing one old song. Everyone was Veda Purusha Satya Sai Prajnanam Brahma Tattvamasi Ayam Atman Brahma Aham Brahmasmi Veda Purusha Satya Sai Veda Purusha Satya Sai Prajnanam Brahma Tattvamasi. Sometimes I used to follow him jogging to the hills. I still remember what shorts he wears, what shoe he used to wear, little wind cheater he used to wear. And he used to run faster than me. And we were wearing his one of these Sony Walkman things. And he was in the world. Now when he comes home, he'll quickly take a paper and write. So, what are you doing? New song. So he gets his songs when he's jogging. Now, the point of me narrating this little story is you can be doing something in your earthly body, in yourself, but you can be functioning at a different level. But many people are so focused on what they're doing that they forget what they really should be doing. Right? So Vedanta tells you to stop. Focus inwards. You can never find God outside. You can find temples where there is God inside. So even that very thing is supposed to tell you a message. You can't find God outside. You go to a temple, you see him outside the temple? No. You see him inside the temple, inside the Moolasthana, inside the Garbhagraha. Garbhagraha, inside the womb. That itself is telling you God is inside, God is within. So why are you not looking? Where is Swami Uttapati? You give God a postcode. If I ask where is Murray, I say Palani Malai. You don't go up the hill, you can't see him. You know what is the Palani Malai? The Palani Malai is your life. That is the hill you're supposed to traverse. Traverse the hill, spiral upwards, and then know that it's right there in the center of your being. It's God. So, Shankaracharya came and said about Advaita, from duality to non-duality. Then Ramanujarya comes and says, Vishishtadvaita. Because many people were confused about Advaita. Within the two there are many. Choose one. The next slide. Next one. You see, each of this school is a pathway, right? Dvaita, duality. I am and I am not. I see but I don't. I listen but I don't hear. I talk but I don't speak. I feel but without compassion. That's Dvaitam, right? Then you have Dvaita Dvaitam. Embarkment. That is, he's talking about the higher levels of Brahma Jiva and Atma Jiva and Parabrahma Jiva. Right? So these are different schools. So I take something. So let's say sister makes a cake and gives me just a bland cake. Now you can eat the cake on your own. But brother here will come and say, it looks very bland. Chuck some icing on it. You say, oh. So that's Dvaitam. She gave me Advaitam, I made it into Dvaitam. But he says, still. So I throw some chocolate shavings and all those kind of things, right? Vishishta Dvaitam. No. He said one thing, but it's presented in a multiple way. So the same concept is presented to you in different ways. That's all it is. Go to the next one. Shuddha. This is, if you can read that, right? Brahma is the whole, while the souls are in parts. So this talks about the tripartite, Sat, Chit, Ananda. Sat is truth, Chit is Chittam, thoughts. Chittam, this also, you see, whatever is in the Vedantic philosophy is present in the Saiva Siddhanta philosophy. So I am telling you, Sat is truth, Chittam is your thoughts, and Anandam is bliss. So from the truth is, your thoughts is what will give you bliss. Simple as that. Right? And if you go to Saiva Siddhanta, it says, Chittamellam yanakku Shivamayame Iraiva. All my thoughts are splendidly reverberant in the thoughts of Shiva. Okay. Same like Malaysian say, you know. Same. Okay. Achintya Veda. Veda, Abheda. Right? Veda means different, Abheda means not different, indifferent. Right? Achintya means that which you continuously need to think about. Right? Veda, Abheda means difference and non-difference or indifference. And it's more of a tradition rather than the school of Vedanta. So again here it's talking about this is Achintya Veda is basically something propounded by ISKCON. You know ISKCON? International Society of Krishna Consciousness. Right? And they believe there's only Krishna, nothing else. We know Krishna comes from the lineage of Dashavatara, the 8th avatar. So again they've taken that Krishna and there's only Krishna. Of course there's lots of followers. It doesn't matter as long as you go not outward but you tell me one religion today, now I'm talking about religion. You tell me one religion today that does not have some form of meditation within it. Hinduism, yes. Right? Yes, sadhus. Christianity, yes. We have Japamala, they have rosaries. Islam also have. Buddhism, they have. Very good. Jainism, they have. Sikhism, they have. Shintoism has. Confucianism has. Taoism has. 11 major religions in the world have. Sitting silently. And that's also one of the 9-point code of conduct. Sit silently. Sit silently. Sit silently means what? Not you sitting in silence. You sitting, but your mind is in silence. Simple. Right? We sit silently, but mind is continuously, rampantly going here, there, everywhere. Right? Sometimes you look at somebody in the bhajan, you can even send transmission, mind transmissions. That's how unsilent your mind is. As Shankara says, mind is like a, what does he say? A drunk monkey. Bitten by a scorpion. This monkey already is bad on its own, right? Shankara says, this is a drunk monkey. Stung by a scorpion and possessed by the devil. That is your mind. Right? The next one. So some principles, some basic principles. Right? These are stuff that sometimes in Cambridge University we have heads of chaplaincy meetings. So the Muslim head of religion will come, the Christian dean will come, the Sikh chaplain will come, the Islamic mullah will come. So we sit and chat about this. They say, tell us something about Hindu religion. I say, I have nothing to say because Hinduism is not a religion. We have principles. Hinduism is a way of life. That way of life is Satyam Vadha. Only speak the. Okay, that doesn't apply to all of you. Don't like, go to the next one. Dharmam Chara. Do Dharma. So you're thinking, does that apply to me? The moment you think of something, the answer is it doesn't apply to you. Because if it applies, you know it instantly. Are you male or female? You know instantly, isn't it? Oh, you don't? I fear there would be a risk in asking the question and still persevere, right? Nonetheless. So you see, some things you know instantly. That is, you know, that is truth. You know that. If you have to think about it, that means you don't know it. Right? You don't know it or you don't have it. Impersonality and universal. Sometimes, you hear people say, you have to be impersonal. So what do they mean when they say that to you? When you go for that interview, be impersonal. What do they mean? To be one with the universe, you have to be impersonal. You have to strip yourself of that personality. If that is very difficult, then I give you Saiva Siddhanta, Shiva sitting in meditation on the lion skin. The lion skin is called Anava. Anava is? Ego, arrogance. So he stripped that arrogance out and he's sitting on it as master and is in constant state of meditation. So if you think only Vedanta talks about meditation, Shiva is Yogeshwar. Divinity of the soul. It's quite funny because many people, young people in love, will always say, my dearest one, I give you my soul. Money in the pocket also you can't give properly. You want to give your soul. It's very difficult to give something you don't know how to relate to, isn't it? Your soul lives on. Your soul is eternal. The body is temporary. So the soul is something that lives continuously. If it's not your body, it takes on another body. If it's not that body, it takes on another body. Until the time when that soul evolves into a bodiless spirit and merges with Paramatma. Until then it continuously goes to this Punarjanma. Punarjanma. Again birth, again death. Beginning, unending. But right in the middle is the center, which is Brahma. So every time you turn, you've got to go around smaller until you go to the middle. Then you are there, you're not turning, but everything else around you is turning. Understand? Right? So even everything you do is three, I said to you, right? Waking stage, deep sleep stage, and dream stage. Conscious self, subconscious self, superconscious self. So anything that you do at a physical level, it is always conscious. If you want to go into spirituality, you have to go beyond consciousness, into subconsciousness. If you want to realize that spirituality, then you have to go from subconscious to superconscious. Once you go there, then you can't come back. It's a one-way street. But if you've got so much of desire, ichcha, and the ichcha will pull you towards kriya. When from the ichcha pulls you towards the kriya, then you lose the jnana. So I come back to Saiva Siddhanta and I give you Lord Muruga. Subramanya. Many people know Muruga for the wrong reasons. Muruga, for that the chap with two wives, yeah. So that's your justification for knowing Muruga, because just in case you need to do it, you use Muruga as ground. gods can do it, why can't we? Okay, they are gods. Come to their level, then you can do. Right? No. Murugan is Jnana Shakti. Valli is Ichcha Shakti. Devani is Kriya Shakti. So if you go from the form to the formless of the Ichcha and Kriya, if you go down, suppress your Ichcha, you will automatically suppress your Kriya. Because only when the thought of the desire arises, the action pursues. Isn't it? But if you can exercise intelligence and say, this is no good, I don't want to do this, I discontinue, I desist, then you've exercised intelligence. That is the veil he's holding. Broad-mindedness. Have you seen a veil, how it is? You know the veil? Sharp, and it goes broad, and it goes thin and long as it longs. That is depth of character. Sharpness is sharpness of intellect. Broadness is broad-mindedness. Now you pray with the veil like that. Whenever you see Muruga, don't look at his two wives. Give me the broad-mindedness of your lance, the sharpness of intellect that is represented by a lance, the depth of character that is represented by the lance. That should be your prayer. And let me, by looking at you, sharpen my intelligence, reduce my desires, and therefore reduce my actions as a result of those desires. That should be your prayer. So from Saiva Siddhanta, it's pointing you back towards Vedanta. You get stuck there. And so you continue. Go on to the next one. So these are just principles. And we talked about metaphysics, Vedanta, at that high level. Talks about three extremities, right? This is problems of reality. That is physics, which science relates to. And metaphysics, only religion or philosophy of religion can relate to that. Right? Purusha. Purusha means not Manusha. Right? We don't need Manusha Shuddham. Right? We need Purusha Shuddham. Manusha Deva Rupa. So man is made in the image of God. Purusha Shuddham tells that. Chandrama Manaso Jataha Chaksho Suryo Ajayatha Mukha Indrascha Agnischa Prana Vayurajayatha. What does it say? Chandrama Manaso Jataha. Mind is equated to the moon. Chaksho Suryo Ajayatha. Both your eyes are like the sun. The light. The light that you perceive from the sun should go and become the moonlight. Your mind becomes bright. That is why in Saiva Siddhanta, there are lots of prayers that you should do on Paurnami. There are lots of prayers you should do in Ashtami. There are lots of prayers you should do in Amavasya. Because the mind is still operative. It doesn't matter what day of week or what month of year. Mind is still mind. And you are so governed by the Panchabhutas. Water can govern you. Air can govern you. Space can govern you. Earth can govern you. Fire can govern you. Panchabhutas. Prana Vayurajayatha. The air that you breathe. So even in temples when they do consecration of Kumbhabhishekam, right? The main thing there is something called Prana Pratishthapana. Prana Pratishthapana. That means where you breathe life into that stone or idol. Vedanta tells you even if you are in the most noisiest of places, you should be at peace with yourself. You just go to any temple which is noisy. That temple, full of noise. So you are not a Vedantic philosopher going to Saiva Siddhanta then. Temple is telling you when you come in, there is a certain procedure. You know where you go to wash your legs, and then where you start, and where you go, and finally at the Moolasthana, why do you do the parikrama, going around the circumambulation? And inside the Moola, you will see the Gopuram, At the Gopuram, you see the Kalasha. Kalasha is at the top there, you see something pointy, isn't it? So that's where the energy of the universe is brought in. And through mantric vibrations, it is instilled in the forms that is in the moon. And they are always raised. So when you are walking around, right, the positioning of the gods and goddesses are right at the base where the Mooladhara Chakra is when you're walking. So the energy that circumambulates around inside the Garbhagraha can actually connect to your Moola. Tvam Mooladhara Sthito Nityam Tvam, you Shaktitrayatmakaha. You are the form that gives me Shakti, the energy. So when I go around you, I am actually activating my inner energy. But people are so focused, I have to do 3 times. 1. Tell the wife, how many times I'm going on? You're so focused on the form that you forget the lesson, why you do things. Right? So Purusha, Atman, Prakriti, you see the picture of Shiva dancing like that. Full of there is Prakriti around him. Right? And when he's dancing, he's pointing. One leg is up, one leg is pointing there, one leg is abhaya, like one hand is abhaya like that. He says, oh man, surrender at my feet. And I give you abhayas. And he's standing. You see the picture of Nadaraja? He's standing on a little baby, right? So once in Cambridge, this Muslim head of Islam asked me, why is your God Shiva dancing on a little baby? Has he got no compassion? I said, that is not a little baby. That is a demon called Apasmara Purusha that represents all the 8 cardinal sins that even is referred to in Islam. If you look at this surah, it talks about this. In fact, you begin your prayers, that shaitan is what Shiva is tapping on. Shut up after that. A true Hindu is one who knows the principles of all other religions. Then you're a good Hindu, because you're non-violent. Right? Once there's a national conference of religions in UK, and they called me as, the Hindu chaplain who gave which I went. I said, let me speak last. 5 minutes. So I'm not a good speaker, so let me speak last. I wanted to hear what the others had to say, so I could retort. Anyway, so the Islamic guy was organizing it, so they wanted to go last. He said, before the last speaker, you speak. So the Buddhist speaker, and the topic was peace in your own religion. So the Buddhist speaker came, he said a Buddhist prayer, and he said, this is peace from the Buddhist perspective. And the Christian pastor came, he said, the Christian prayer, he said something about peace. And everybody came to see prayer. And when he came to my turn, I went and recited the Islam prayer, and I said, this is Hinduism peace. The full Islamic prayer. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. That's Amen in Christian. And I explained what it means. I said this is Hinduism's aspect of peace. The Muslim prayer speaker never came after that. You see? But you see, without speaking about Hinduism, I put it right at the top. Hinduism is this, Shiva is this, Durga is this. Plus, will be even more confused by the time they leave. So you either vibrate at a higher level, as far as Vedanta is concerned, higher level of knowledge, only knowledge. That's why Vedanta, the end of knowledge. So whatever you can to full your knowledge. I mean, even in the Gita, Krishna gives you 4 ways, right? Bhakti, karma, dhyana, and jnana. Take one way. Why you want one? That also you have to be greedy. I want a bit of dhyana, a bit of bhakti, come on, be there. Dhyana, yes, meditation have to. Karma, same, I do once in a way. Make sure you call the reporters. Some pictures. Master of none, jack of all trades, master of none. The next one, brother, please. That's metaphysics. Next, you look at epistemology. This is problems of knowledge. The earlier one was problems of reality, metaphysics. What physics sees as existing, Vedanta sees as non-existent. What physics say is non-existent, Vedanta sees it existing. So it's a problem of reality. Then you have epistemology, the problems of knowledge. American Institute of Metaphysical Sciences, they have said 84% of knowledge is achieved purely through the medium of Shravana listening. We've said that in the Navagita Bhakti. We've said that. First is Shravana, Mananam, Vidyadhasanam, Mandanam, Archanam, Dashyam, leading to Atmani Vedana again. Then you have something called Sadhana Chatusthaya. That means the 4 observation methods, again, of improving your knowledge. Knowledge should give you wisdom. Wisdom should dictate and direct and govern your intellect. So even when I did the Bhagavad Gita, my first lesson was, I explained to you the picture of the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Krishna is holding the reins that is connected to the 5 horses. He is holding the reins. He's gently turned back looking at Arjuna. Arjuna is listening. Both of them are on the wheel, on the chariot. Chariot has 4 wheels. It's got a body. It's got a flag. And in that flag there is Hanuman. People will always ask, because they want to see something that really gives you knowledge, but to them it is not. Hey, brother, can I ask you something? I already know what they're going to ask. I said, ask anyway. Because benefit of the doubt has to be given until it is no longer available to the recipient. What is Hanuman, who was in Ramavatar, doing with Krishna in the battlefield? Why is he there on the flag? I said, Hanuman is Chiranjeevi. He represents bhakti, faith, loyalty. So why can't he be on the flag? Have you seen your great-grandfather? No. But you have his picture in your house, right? Explain that. Have you seen him? Do you know that's your great-grandfather? No. How do you know? Your grandfather told your father. Your father told you. Where's the proof? Show me DNA. You can't, isn't it? So, there is a, Vedanta says this is there because of this. And that's knowledge for you. So accept that and push yourself with that knowledge. Bhakti, simple. Can anybody challenge Hanuman's bhakti? Every strand of hair on his body was vibrating to the name of Ram. That is bhakti. If you can't relate to that, then don't question. You have no right to question Hanuman. The name of Ram is so powerful to him. One name is enough. What's that mantra? Ramana. Sahasranama Tattulyam. Is that right? Rama. Even in the word Rama there is Hari and Haran, Shiva and Vishnu. So really you're looking at different forms, different parts, but they all lead to the same place. Is there only one way to come to SS3 Sai Center? No, isn't it? You can come from Klang, you can come from Shara, you can come from KL, you can come from Bangsa, you can come from PJ. Right? Yesterday night I went through 5 different places to come here. My friend's place, SSO. I had to go to Shangri-La for a function On the way I drove, I was given a nice tour by my so-called Google Maps. And I think I enriched the government at least by 25 ringgit paying polls in different places. Some service I did yesterday. Viveka is discrimination. Krishna holding the reins that connect the horses. Horses have 5 senses, 5 horses. The reins is Viveka, discrimination. Krishna holding it is Buddhi. Buddhi, when it's in control of Viveka that governs your senses, it is earned the capacity. It has earned the capacity to dictate to the mind, that is Arjuna. Arjuna is sitting on a chariot. The chariot has got 4 wheels. The 4 wheels represent the 4 Vedas, the 4 Yugas, 4 Yajnas, 4 Kalas, 4 Purushas, the 4 Ashramas, 4 Purusharthas. That means life has to be lived on these principles. So just a picture, that's why they say a picture paints 1,000 words. You remember that expression, but you forget what it means in your own religion, right? And I go to the next one, please. Then you have axiology, which is a problem of value. Swami is very, very easy. Human, then you must have 5 values. I am going to call it human values. Satyam, Dharma, Shanti, Prema, Ahimsa. That is the Vedantic philosophy by him. If you practice these 5 human values, you'll find. From there, EHV started, isn't it? Education in human values. To perform duties, responsibilities, loyalty and honesty. So yesterday at this marriage, they asked me to give a talk. I was explaining to them what is Shaptabhati. One of the wedding rituals. You take 7 steps. You don't want to remember that now. I shall not refresh your memory. It's a health and safety issue, right? We keep it at that. So I said to them, do you know why you took the 7 steps? Did anyone explain to you what is meant by Shaptabhati? Shapta means 7, body means steps. First step you take is equi-contribution to dharmic values between husband and wife. So not only husband has to be dharmic, wife also has to be dharmic, not only wife, husband also has to be dharmic. Equi-contribution. Second one is moral values, moral duties. Third one is mutual trust and confidence. What is loyalty? Fifth, Vamsa Vriddhi, lineage. You know Vamsa Vriddhi? Lineage, your lineage. And sixth, longevity. 7, faithfulness. So like that, there are principles. Problems of value, you know the value, but the problem is you don't inculcate or incant those values in your daily life. Because if you did, you will be on a different journey. Practicing, not just preaching. Yeah, next one. Otherwise you'll be here till evening. So you have Paravidya, which is spiritual knowledge. Or at a lower level, at a lower base, you have Aparavidya, which is worldly knowledge. So when Ganesh was introducing, all that is nothing. Material accumulations get you nowhere. Spiritual knowledge gets you somewhere. I cannot go to God and give him my CV and say, God, fast track me please. I have collected all these earth miles, not air miles, earth miles. You say, Aparavidya, Punarjanma, that you. Paravidya, idhar aa beta. Rescue. Your choice. Everything is choice. Why, when you go to a buffet, you know exactly what you want and you choose only that. But in life, which gives you all this buffet, you don't take what that gives you permanence. Nitya. But you choose anitya, which is impermanent. And then you wonder why. Right? So Paravidya is studies of all the scriptures, all the almanacs, Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, And then Aparavidya is worldly knowledge. Master of science, master of history, doctor of this, doctor of that. But even in that, we've got 6 different fields that is encompass all forms of knowledge in the world. Then go on to the next one. So in 3 lines. Asat. From untruth. Lead me to truth. How many years you been saying it? I'll leave you with that. How many years you been saying it? Tamas Thoma Jyotiktamaya. From darkness lead me to light. You know how you switch on the light, a dark room becomes bright? It is the same mechanism that works inside. Buddha took so many years and please I said, I've seen the light. Because inside the light switch was on. All the time, if the switch was there, you just didn't know where to touch and turn it on. You're the same. You sit in darkness, but even if you open your eyes, you're still in darkness because the light from within is not shining up. You start your bhajans with that. With regard to Hindu. Imagine the light. I can only imagine it. Can't see it. So something has to start with the thought. Chinta, sat. Truth. Yes, your thoughts will lead you to bliss. Right? So 2 main schools of thought. Astika or Nastika. One that accepts or one that rejects. Either you accept things or you reject things. Simple. There is no middle ground. 50% I accept, 50% I reject. That's life, isn't it? Either you like something or you dislike something. Right? Either you're thirsty or not thirsty, you're hungry or not hungry, you like, you don't like. That's it. Very clear cut. This is Vedas or Vedanta, the philosophy that tells you how to get somewhere that will bring you back to the beginning without worshipping any specific God forms. It is verily a philosophy. Nit Guna Brahma. And then next one. Saiva Siddhanta. Saiva is Saivam. Saivam is not vegetarian. Vegetarian, from a Malaysian perspective, is eating less but more frequently. Go on to the next one. Okay. Vedanta focuses on Nirguna, formless, whereas Saiva Siddhanta focuses on Satguna, with the form, one with the form. Even there they have given you many forms. You see, Saivism worships Lord Shiva. And the Shakti comes as well. Right? And then you have Vaishnavism, which only looks at Vishnu. And from there you have Krishna consciousness. Right? Then you have Kaumaram, which only prays to Lord Muruga or Subramanya. Then you have Ganapatyam, which only focuses on Lord Ganesha. And you have Shaktism, which only focuses on Shakti, using Devi Bhagavati as the basis. This is where they practice, Sri Vidya. Sri Vidya is near, chakras. Fantastic science. In its own way. But even that, you know the difference between when they say chakra and they say Meru. If you can see the chakra, the different levels. It's a triangle, right? If you go hold the tip at the top and you push it down and it becomes flat, that is called Sri Chakra. When it's in the form of that trikonus, right, it is called Meru, Mahameru. And there are specific mantras. So unless you are gifted with the mantra, you cannot engage in this worship. That's the science of worship tells you that. And the next one. So Saivism or Shaivism is basically Shivam or Shiva. Right? So Saiva Siddhanta in Tamil. Basically it means worshipping of Lord Shiva. Somebody better answer the call. Right? So even in the Upanishads there is reference to the Agamas. Right? The difference between the Vedas and the Saiva Siddhanta text references is Saiva Siddhanta has many multiple references to Shiva in other god forms. But in the Vedas, in the Upanishads, no references. Only reference is man. Man in English means human person. But man, if you convert it from a Sanskrit, it means man. Man is manas, it's mind. Right? So how to invert that mind from an extroverted perception to an introverted in view. Next one. So Swami, when he calls you for interview, he says, I'm not calling for interview, I'm calling you so that you can have an inner view. See? Nama Shivaya. If you add Om, it becomes a complete mantra. Nama Shivaya is Panchakshara. Pancha Akshara. Pancha is 5 Aksharas. Na, Ma, Si, Va, Ya. When you say Na, protects your feet. Ma, Si, Va, Ya. When you say Om, it connects. Say Om Namah Shivaya, it's complete protection. That itself becomes a Panchakshari mantra. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. 2 mantras with just Om Namah Shivaya. So Na talks about the sense of touch. Ma talks about the sense of taste. Si talks about your sight. Va talks about smell. Ya talks about ear. So basically when you say Namah Shivaya, it should control your 5 pancha indriyas, 5 organic senses and 5 senses of perception. Jnana indriyas, karma indriyas. How fantastic is that? You see but without attachment. You hear but no connection. You speak but no feeling. That's how you become impersonal. So for impersonalization, this gives you the methodology, different methodology. And the next one. Again, it's asking you the same question. Shiva wanted to test Adi Shankara. I've said this story many times. So he comes, and Shankara is walking in the hills of Kailash, mountains of Kailash. He comes as a Chandala in his path. Shankaracharya, in his quest for looking for Shiva, and I've said the story of how Shankara was born, the boon of Shiva. So Shankara sees him coming and says, move away, you, move away. And he asks, Shankara in return, what is it about me that you want moved? Is it me that you see as the form? Or is it me that is the Atma in me? The form I move, but the Atma also moves. I am and I am not. That time Shankara knew this can only be Shiva. Very felt different. That's where it became Shivoham. I am. So you go back to the Veda, Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art. I am Atman Brahma. Aham Brahmasmi. I am that very Brahman. Prajnanam Brahma. Strip me and you will see Brahman. Go to the next one. So you see, ask question, Saiva Siddhanta gives you some plausible answers. So 3 things in Saiva Siddhanta philosophy, right? One is called Pati, Pasam and Pasu. Pati means Lord. Hence one of his name is Pashupati. Pashupati, right? And that which prevents the Pashu from becoming the Pati is the Pasha in between. Passion is conditional. When you have unconditional love, then it's no more passion. Then the Pashu can become Pati. Pashupati. Pashu must always look at the Pati with one pointed focus. That's why you see the Vahanas in the temples. They're always looking at. That's why when you go to temple, you cannot go in between, walk in between. So if there's a big stand here and you see Mushaka there, Mushaka is facing Ganesh. You cannot cut in the middle like that. You have to go around. There's Nandi looking at Shiva, you cannot go in between. Right? Many people will go and say things in Nandi's ears. Right? I'll be looking. You knew me. What you? Then you say to him, why cannot tell you? Secret. Why do you, some people do that, you know? Go to Nandi and. But even when they're saying something to Nandi, they're looking all over the place. You have to seek Nandi's permission before you worship Lord Shiva. But you don't seek it by whispering in his ears. I need an appointment night to see the big bar. You seek permission by. When you go to temples, you shouldn't touch anything. You know why? Because everybody comes and leaves their problems there. Somebody will go and say, I'm full of debts. Oh Lord, take my debt, everything. Touch the God form and go. The next fellow will come and take everything to myself and he'll go off. Then the next day I will say, oh, you don't have anything. Okay, let me give you all my sickness, everything, all the sewing. You take. Next fellow will come, give me all the sewing, please. This touching business was never part of the worship culture. You should just go there and connect with your magnet. No, you forget the magnet and you use just physical side. Change all your ways. 3 things that can get in the way of Pashu meeting the Pati. The one I said in Pasha. The other thing is Anavam, Dharma and Maya. So Saiva Siddhanta tells you different ways in which you can control these things and find your true self in the end. Next one, pure, unadulterated, unconditional love. It says God exists. One of the beautiful things that comes in the Siva Purana, you know, Sivan avan yen sindayil nindra adanal, avan arulale avantal vanangi. Because Shiva is in my thought, Shivan avan, right? Because he is verily existing in my thoughts. Avan arulale, because of his grace, I am able to touch his feet. Avantal vanangi. Just like how the Vahanas are poised and are waiting to receive instructions from the Master. Right? They're all animals. All the God forms of animals as their Vahanas. If you want to be a Vahana, you have to get rid of all the animalistic tendencies. Simple as that. Murugan, what is his Vahana? Peacock represents what? Pride and vanity. Vanity. No one more beautiful than me. Vanity. Become like the peacock. Become like Nandi. Get rid of all your Mada. Mamada. Matsarya. Finish. Then you become the bull that is fit for Shiva to come. Simha. Simha Vahini. Right? Get rid. Lion is the king of the jungle. That Anava. And it goes subservient. And yes, you fit. So it teaches you all these different methodologies. Right? And next one. Shiva. the main focus of Saiva Siddhanta. But of course, Shiva himself, right, in the form of Ardhanarishvara, has given half his form to Shakti. So you have the saying, Shivanilla, Shakti illa, Shakti illa. That is in Saiva Siddhanta. But the same very thing, Shankaracharya already said in Saundarya Lahari, right, in one of his Brahma Sutras. Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yati Bhavati Shaktaha Prabhavitum Nache Devam Devo Nakala Kushala Sparditum Abhi Ataswam Haratyam Harihara Vilinchari Pravi Pranantum Vastotum Katamarita Punya Prabhavati. There is no Shiva without Shakti. Vedanta has already said that. Now he's telling you through Saiva Siddhanta, Shivanilla Shakti illa. If you didn't believe that, that is too difficult, too high flight, too high flown, too high level. I don't understand this. Right? You don't understand that, then you go to Abhayar, the story of the Subramanya. Where he sees her. He's on the tree. And he says, hey party, are you hungry? Yes, yes. I am on the tree, there are many fruits here. You want? Yes, give me the fruit. And he says, Sutta Padam Viluma. Instantly she knew, my God, how you corrected me. Shiva, that's why I said Murugan is Jnana. Jnana Vel. You sing. Shakti Vel, Jnana Vel, Vetri Vel, but you don't practice any of that in your life. Vel for him is destruction. Vel for you is intellect that destroys Anam. Intellect that destroys Maya. Intellect that destroys delusion. Next one. Kadavul. The nice Tiana song. Old song. Kadavul irukindran aduvun kannukku theriyindrathu. Kaatril tavalugiran aduvun kannukku theriyindrathu. God is existing, but can you see it? He's there even in the air. Can you feel it? Kada Bull. Right? God is within. So unless you go in, you won't see it. Here, next one. So it's Jnana Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Ichcha Shakti. So you have the Tirumurais, all the, in the temples when you go, during the puja, after the puja, you sing Devaram, Tiruvasam. It is to recognize that these are the rules. Ammaye Appa Uppiramani, Anbilil Vilainda Aravi. All this is meant to put your thoughts and provoke your thinking and invoke that feeling so that you evoke that sensation. Next one. Tirumurai, Tirumandiram. Same thing. If you don't like this part, go to the Vedanta, look at the Upanishads. Right? In one of the sessions I did, I spoke about the 15 Upanishads. Whatever is very difficult, water it down to a level where you can just listen and understand. It's all there on YouTube. 18 Puranas, 81 verses of Pajagovinda, 18 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. I just finished last week. I just finished 15 weeks of the Yoga Sutras, 196 Yoga Sutras by Patanjali Maharaj. So, be on YouTube within 1 or 2 weeks. So you are the Pashu. That which you see is the Pati. You are the consciousness. But you see something called the subconscious. Through the subconscious, you can merge with the superconscious. If you are stuck at your vision and you don't go beyond, if you use the vision to transverse to the parallel universe that exists on the other side, just like the whole dream stage, just a little Maya, if you go Samadhi. And Samadhi is very possible. Lots of saints have come and shown you that. Agastya is still there, right? Hanuman is still there. Shankaracharya is still there. Raghavendra is still there. Ramana Maharshi is still there. And seen and spoken to many people who have experienced this. My trip to Kailash in 2005, there was another photographer there. Everywhere he was taking photos. I said, why don't you use your mind and capture? And you heard of something called photographic memory. So if you lose your camera, you lose your little negatives, you're gone. Capture it in your mind. He says, some things you can capture in your mind. Some things only camera can capture. So he took some photos. And he came back to Kathmandu, he developed them. And he was shocked. He came to my room and he noticed it. He said, look at this. There's one picture of a little place where he took one face, I think the north face of Kailash. He took, and there was a picture of a monkey sitting there. But there wasn't. And he took the photo, obviously, it was some mountain. So he said, can you explain this? Then I went back to Ramayana and I told him how when Lakshmana was injured, Hanuman flew to go and get the Sanjeevani herb. He didn't know which one was Sanjeevani. But because he's a Bhailavan, he took the whole thing and came and said, take which is Sanjeevani. Right? Basically, someone asked me that why he carried the whole thing. Surely the whole mountain is not Sanjeevani. I said, yeah, if you don't have intelligence, have strength. Keep quiet after that. You don't have both, so keep quiet. Right? So, some things the camera can capture. Even aura, All of you have some auras here. Right? If I turn off the lights and come with one of those kinetic cameras, you'll see different lights. That tells you your aura. How do you get your aura? From where does your aura come? It comes from somewhere. Two people can be sitting side by side, but your aura is different color. So where does that come from? This is Mano Tattva. If you read Manusmriti, it tells you what is in your mind transcends as a separate color. And some people are gifted that they can see. Even when people are pregnant, there is a certain aura around the womb. That is why our ancient grandmothers, mostly grandmothers, they will touch and they will tell you the sex of the baby. No, you don't use them. You'd rather go somewhere, they'll rub some gel on you, put this little computer mouse all over the place. You see? Male baby. Our ancestors could just touch it. Because I told you, your 5 fingers are Panchabhutas. Right? Air, water, space, earth, and fire. By touching, it will activate three things. You believe in reflexology, right? Whether you believe or not, you go for it time to time. Shaping your fingers are got reflexology. And mudras, I was teaching mudras in the yoga classes. For headache, there's a mudra. For eyesight, there's a mudra. No, but you'd rather go to an ophthalmologist. So he give you some fancy pair of glasses for you to wear and say, my vision is corrected now. But you don't press the right place. Yoga sutras. If you don't believe in how your body can be made in alignment, right? So that the chakras are in alignment, so that when you sit, the ground which is Prakriti can energize you through your chakras, right? So the Muladhara, Swadhisthana, Manipura, Anahata, Vishuddha, Ajna, Sahasrara, they activated. Have you seen the medical symbol? And doctors here. You've seen the medical symbol? It's like a snake coiling around in there. That is the Kundalini. Kumbhakam, Kodakam, Rakshakam. Anyway, so basically if you ask me, is there a difference? I said no. There is no difference. Just a term of reference. It's a buffet. Hinduism is a buffet. Choose your food eat enough of it so that you digest. And you don't die from overeating. But then you'll be reborn. And you know why they say always think of God, always say the name of God? Because the last thing you think in your mind, the last thing you say before you die is what will come back next. That is one reason why our parents and our ancestors have always named us. So you know the point of their day, Vickneswaren, come here. Amma Saraswati, come here. So the last thing they say is the name of God. Okay, fine, moksha. Punya moksha. Just by calling the name. Now it's getting fashionable. Rish! No, that sound, it's beyond point of aksharas. They'll have nice name. Mahadevi, a fantastic name. Guess what her name is? Parents calling her. Mahadevi is a full name. What the parents call her? Maddie. You are Mad D, and every time I call you, I confirm it. Mad D, come here. Ramakrishna. Rama. Ram. Ram is a goat. You give birth to a child and call him a goat. That is the sense. So, if you name your child, call your child that name. You want to play it safe, just call him or her Om. Om. Om, go home. Go home. So many things like that. Akshara, mantra means sound vibrations. So if you don't say the right thing, you don't get the right sound. Isn't it? Only if I call you by your name, you look at me, you respond, isn't it? Yes. So sounds also have the same method of responding. That is why when mantra are recited, you should not be saying anything. Because you are also making sound. Mantra is also sound. So sound and sound fight. Which sound will lose? Mantras will lose. Because mantras cannot fight you. Mantras are recited at certain chandas. But your speaking is beyond chandas. How many temples you go? Have you been to a Gurudwara? Have you been to a Buddhist vihara? Have you been to an Ayyappan temple? You don't hear a single sound. You go to church. Silence is where you communicate. Because only when silence is surrounding you inside you can silence it. Every time outside is so noisy, inside you cannot silence because your faculties are focused on the noise externally. Internally you cannot sound. But you go to a Hindu temple. I don't mean this in a bad way. I just want to invoke some awareness in you so that you can tell other people, don't come to temple and talk. Talk to God in your mind. See God and talk. You don't have to touch. All of you have been to the Kudu temple? Yeah. Yes? Oh, you close your eyes now. You can go to the temple. You don't have to take your car and go to Jalan Kudu. Close your eyes, you're right in front of the temple. You picture the temple already. You know what is the left, what is on the right, or the coconut breaking place, the little lamp. 2 steps, I'm inside. Mulasthana, Ganesha is there. Black granites all around. I'm going around. There's a tree behind. I'm going around the tree. What a fantastic tool you have. Tirumular, what did he say? Maname mandirame. Your mind is the mantra. So recite. No, but you said, I have to go to the Guru temple today. Take your candle. The distance between you and God is the distance between your mind and God. Simple as that. So you measure the distance in kilometers or miles, or the lack of it. That is the difference that Vedanta preaches. It is also the difference. Saiva Siddhanta preaches. It's just difference of approach. The end result is the same. So the means justify the end. Thank you for listening, Saiva.
So, thank you, brother. Thank you, Pandit. Let's give him another round of applause.